All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to The Thoughtful Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Jen Amos. Today, I have with me Daria Vodopianova. So Daria Vodopianova is the co-founder of Thought Leadership Academy. Her website is dariav.com. And she actually runs this business with her spouse. So really exciting stuff. Daria, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen.
Yeah, I have to ask, since it is a new year, do you feel different from 2020 in any way?
I don't know. I feel yes and no. I took 2 weeks off really to stop and, really reflect. I was in the yoga meditation place in the mountains. And it was really beautiful surrounding. And I did feel that there is a shift, but I always have this excitement of, coming back and, the fresh things. But in the same time, it just feels like it's also a continuation of what's before, which I think exciting, when you can build on what you already have and you can build on the beautiful things and, meeting our members again and meeting our team again. It's just so exciting to have that feeling of familiarity as well, with so many things changing all the time in our world at the moment. So I kind of like that part, but I'm also excited about where we can go together this year. So that's what's more exciting for me.
Yeah, I feel for me, I have like two feelings that kind of coexist, like excitedness as well as anxiousness. Mainly because just like what you said, I feel like for me, 2021 is going to be building upon the good stuff I was fortunate to do in 2020. I know that a lot of people unfortunately lost a lot of opportunities. And I think I felt guilty about that. So I was just like a workaholic in 2020. But anyway, fast forward to today, it's like, I'm just excited and again, like anxious at the same time, because it's like, I can build upon what I have, but I still don't know what the future brings. Like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to come ahead and everything. But anyway, it's okay to acknowledge my feelings and take it as it is and just keep chucking away.
Yes. But also, we can also replace guilt with gratitude, if we take what we have, because a lot of people suffered last year, and in the same time, we can be of service. If you are showing up, and I know that you did an amazing work with this podcast, and you're showing up for your audience, and you're inspiring people who are maybe still in lockdown, or maybe they're having a hard time, and you just hear an inspiring story, and you feel, wow, there are people out there who inspire me, and I can, wake up in the morning, and I can get up and running with some more creative projects, or do something good for myself. And that in itself is a service. So you are serving a big community of listeners and audience and members and your team and all that. So you are if you replace that guilt with gratitude and service, you're gonna feel so good about yourself, because you're every day you're doing the best for yourself and for others. So
Daria, you changed my life just now. I just wrote that down. I was like, guilt, just reframe guilt with gratitude. I'm going to my mom has always been a good example of gratitude. She was a widow, unfortunately, when we lost my dad. We lost my dad and she was a widow of kids, like 3 kids under 11 years old at the time. And so, fast forward to today, when I look back at my mom's life, she just always kind of exuded gratitude. Like, she was never felt like she was down in her luck. And so, who am I to feel this guilt when really I should be modeling after her? So Daria, thank you. You changed my life just now.
Well, I'm happy to share.
Yeah. Well, Daria, so, we mentioned earlier that the company that you run is Thought Leadership Academy. So for people that are hearing about your company for the first time, what is it about and who do you love to serve?
Yeah, so we have, so me and my partner, we've been, as I mentioned before we spoke, we've been a couple for 11 years, and now we have been almost running for 10 years, this company, wow. 9-10 years. And we've been training entrepreneurs, really people who are, having a message to share, having a knowledge to share, and they don't know how to do that. And why we started was because we had this, it came for ourselves. We had this moment when we had the small language school in south of France that we had for a couple of years. And my partner speaks 12 languages and I speak 5. And wow. He was invited to speak at TEDx. And that had huge success, and a lot of people saw that, but we didn't know how to deal with it, because we had the method, we had the methodology, and how to teach, how to learn a language, how to really unblock that belief that we cannot learn a second language or third language, etc. And but we had no structure. We had no structure. Like, how do you build a business when you have some, expertise, not your secret recipe? I call it the secret recipe. Basically, we all have that. We have gone through something, we've done something in our life, and that experience, someone else could really benefit from that. And if we manage to kind of put that into a framework, a method, and we learn to package and, deliver that and sell that to an audience that is really needing that, you can help so many people with what you have gone through, what you learned. Because we were stuck with that, not being able to know how to do that. Our life mission became, how do we do it for ourselves, and then how do we help others, because we are not the only one. And the business models that were taught in business schools, or we were having like lots of business coaches, and we went to lots of business fairs, and like just trying to find, like, can someone help us how to take our package, take our knowledge and like kind of structure that and get it to the market. And we didn't find someone for 2 years, and I was starting to feel really frustrated. So when I kind of got that together and start to implement that for ourselves and for our clients, I realized, there's so many people who need that. There's so many coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, great people, great minds who just want to be out and serve, just want to help more people with what they have to offer, but they don't know how to create a business. They don't know how to structure their knowledge. They don't know how to, create more leverage. So my mission became that, and that's what I do. So I help mostly coaches and consultants who are, ready to serve, ready to impact lives, ready to step up and say, I want to do this, 100%. I want to give more. I want to serve more. I want to be able to not burn out, not hustle myself. I want to have that balance. Sustainability is one of our key messages in our company. It's really a mission that we have, that you can help more people, but you can also have sustainable life. So we don't want them to work, crazy hours. We want them to have more impact and more freedom.
Yeah, I feel like there's 3 words that stood out to me that all start with an S. You like to teach structure and sustainability for people who just want to serve.
Yes, amazing. Oh, I have goosebumps right now. Now I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, there you go. See, we're like exchanging thoughts and brainstorming.
I love that.
Yeah.
And this is so funny because I love structure. My partner is the visionary. So I don't know if you're familiar with the rocket fuel. There's a book.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
And I'm a pure integrator. So I'm all about the structure. I'm like, I'm just like, okay, you need to do this, like a step-by-step process. And he's like the visionary and see the big picture and always thinking bigger. So I love that.
I hear you. My husband is very much the visionary and I'm very much the implementer. And I think we found a good balance. Like, I think that now he knows, like, he has a clear vision. He could actually like implement his vision. And so that's been kind of a long time running for us. But I mean, that's what I got from you. So I'll say it again, in case you want to write that down. It's like,
I wrote it down. It's here.
I love it. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, cool, Daria. So, with the Thought Leadership Academy, I know that you, just to kind of get into specifics, you provide a 3-stage academy for coaches and consultants, through the Thought Leadership Academy. Can you break that down for us? Like, what are the 3 stages when, these coaches and consultants work with you?
Absolutely. So the 3 stages is first profit, then time, and then leverage and influence. And I'll explain what I mean by that. When you start, I will say, when you are growing a coaching consulting business and, and business where you're going to build around your knowledge, the importance here is to start building a sustainability, because if you are working part-time and you're doing that on the side, or you don't have a team, or you don't have like the support that you need, you cannot invest in training, you cannot invest in the systems that you need, then you're always going to limit your impact and limit the time you can put into it. So for us, what's the most important in the beginning, the stage 1, is to help our clients and our members to get to a sustainable, let's say multiple 6-figure business, so they can actually do this, really say that, okay, I can commit to this. I'm not doing this on the side. This is my full power mission. So they can hire 1 or 2 assistants or teams. They can, really invest in whatever they need in the company that we help them to structure. They can really get in that feeling of, it's not about the money, because I really believe that if you come from a place of abundance, and everybody comes from a different place when how much they need, in the company. Usually if you are at multiple 6 figures, you are going to be able to create a lot of, good structure for your business. When you don't show up from a place of, I need to have these clients. When you show up from abundance, you have another way of creating. And that's where we want to get them to. We want to get them away from thinking, I need the money to pay my rent. I need money for do this. I want them to think, I want to be out and serve, and I'm covered. I have what it takes to just focus on how can I help more people and how can I do this in a better way. That's why we focus really 100% on repackaging, restructuring, sales, marketing, all that part, which is the more the business side in the stage one. When they have that, what happens is that, well, they know how to get there, but then the time, they have more people coming, they maybe have more members coming into their own programs, they have more things to do, and they might still not have a lot of support. Now we talked about how can you structure your time better. So you start to create more automation, you create more more support, you create more systems, more structure, then the systems come back. So it's all about getting them away from any task that is not in their zone of genius. Anything that is not their zone of genius should be taken care of by someone else. That's where we work on the time. And the third one is leverage. When we have them having sustainable business, they have the time that they need to focus on other stuff. They can focus on leverage because they can start to create new content. They can go on TEDx, they can write a book, they can do stuff that they really want, and they can be creative, they can take risks, they can play in the space of what they have created. So that's really a very fun place where they are stepping into what's the next level of myself, So they're stretching themselves. So that's how we work.
Yeah, I really like that. So, starting off with building that sustainability and structure early on, really just kind of cutting out the busyness, I think, of a business. Like, you're not just like working in your business, like you establish that in the first stage so that, you could talk about how can I get more of my time back? How do I do that? And how can I automate more? How can I, report more systems, et cetera, like you said, so that you can get to that place of influence where you can kind of have fun. You can show up to speaking engagements, you can do more podcast shows, and you can kind of be the visionary that you are for your company and kind of be more forward thinking and see like, oh, how else we can expand. And, I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to get stuck in working in their business, right? Like, it's just like what you said, these people are really talented at what they do. However, they just don't have that structure to, operate to the best that they can. So sometimes they're working, it's very common knowledge to hear business owners or entrepreneurs wearing a lot of hats, in their business. And really what it sounds like what you're doing is you're kind of taking away some of those hats, or you're trying to delegate, some of those hats, or automate some of those hats. And I think that's great because I think it's also very inspiring, for entrepreneurs to know, like, you don't have to be busy all the time to be, to do what you love. Like, you can delegate some things, and they just need the direction for that.
And also when they come to, even already in all stages, they're starting to have much more fun, because what happens is that even, let's say, if they come in and they are making 6 figures or even like more than that, sometimes they forgot why they're doing what they're doing. When they come in, they're not having fun anymore. They are not coaching or, running programs that are really challenging them, or they're not working with the right clients, or they are not having the right team members. There's so many ways that this can go wrong where, on every stage, they are not focusing on how can I make this enjoyable, when I'm really aligned, where my values are, my values are in everything I'm doing, in any team member, in anything that I'm creating. You can feel it. And when they find that, again, when they find that spark, and when they have this, that energy that comes with it, it's amazing. They get so inspiring, and so, they're just shining. They have this it's a next level power, because when they are out and speaking, when they are out and sharing their message, they're just so alive. And that in itself is that one of the most core things that we work with, that having that fun, having that, celebration of what they have created, because it's so easy to get stuck in this, I want more, I want to create more. Well, I have done this, now I want more. But actually enjoying the process, that's one of the, one of the beautiful things that we see, that they're actually seeing that it doesn't have to be so serious. You can make impact, you can help more people, you can get better, and they are, you can master your skills, you can become a better public speaker, you can be better at all these stuff, a leader, team leader, in your programs, better coach. But it's all about how can you have fun doing it? How can you enjoy it? How can you do it in a way that is aligned with your personality? All that's so important.
That sounds so like exciting and hopeful. I feel like you
Yes.
just kind of like rejuvenated me. Like I'm thinking to myself like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, sometimes you can just have your blinders on and you're just
Yeah.
working, or you're trying to put out a number of fires, and of course you're not going to have time to like be like, wait, why am I in this again? And so
Yes.
when
Yes.
you do take care of the initial stuff, the first two stages of,
Yeah.
sustainability slash structure, and then the
Yeah.
time part, the time stage, once you get to that third stage, it's like, oh, I can just, wow, like I actually appreciate like what I've built, and I feel even more convicted or excited to keep doing what
Yes.
I'm doing. And I think that's really when the fun starts. But again, also remembering that you can have fun along the journey as well. Like this is not just you owning a
Absolutely.
job, like like you're
Yes.
designing your life.
Absolutely. And I want to just add one thing that has to do with celebration.
Mm,
We train our members to celebrate each milestone is a celebration, because it's
yeah.
so easy to say, I'm have this goal, I'm not there yet. So why
Mm-hmm.
should I celebrate this? Like,
Yeah.
maybe they're having a sale. Well, yeah, well, it's a small sale. Well, it doesn't matter. Every person who sign up to your programs, every person who commit to work with you and, get your support, or every team member, every interview, every moment you can share your mission,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And that celebration, it's something we train them in. Like we have dance going on every beginning of the class, like we have music going on there,
Oh my gosh.
we really anchor that in the body. And it
Mhm.
sounds like, well, that's not important. It is important, because I want to come back to the mental health of,
Mm,
leaders,
yeah.
and how we are feeling about ourselves. We are beating ourselves up. We are
Mm-hmm.
doing so much, and we are always beating ourselves up of like there's more to do. And so we also celebrate the leaders that we are working with, that they really remember how far they've come. And with celebration, we always think about, we come together when we can, every 4 months for
Yeah.
5 days in a beautiful place where they all meet
Mm.
together and they celebrate how far they've come. It's about enjoying the journey as well, because if you're on that mission, you're helping so many people, don't forget about yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautifully said. I think for myself, and when I think about 2020 and like how much of a workaholic I was, I decided for 2021 that I'm gonna kind of take the last week off of every month to like not have normal meetings, to just kind of sit back and kind of look, you kind of reflect on that month. And I used to not do that. I used to feel guilty about that. I used to be like, oh no, I got to keep working, I got to keep working. And so I've decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to celebrate, because if I get to that point in this year, like it's worth the celebration. I made it. And
Yes.
even that's worth celebrating in itself. So I love how you incorporate that, in
Oh,
your
yes.
academy, because it is so important. And like you said, leaders are so hard on themselves. And I just love how you stress the importance of mental health, because mental health does matter, and it does matter, especially
Yes.
in our leaders that are, leading their organizations or leading their
Yes.
clients. It's so
Absolutely.
important. And again, I love that you stress that.
Yeah, absolutely. And to come back to what you said about like working hard, we have people coming in and working really hard, but what we have to remember is that how does our brain work? The creative projects are coming in the gaps, in
Mm.
the
Mm.
stillness. We can only get the lessons from what what we actually are here to learn from the experience we've gone through, if we create the gaps in our schedule to think about that and actually reflect on that. If you go out in the forest and go for a walk, that's why they started with walking meditation, or they started with meetings and walking in the forest. There's like a trend with that. And being out and moving, or changing environment, or just doing meditation, or doing some type of something completely different that you're not doing normally, just so you can have that moment of, wow, okay, there are things happening in your mind where the experience and new knowledge coming together, and then you have
Mm.
this boom. Like these creative projects, these creative ideas, those aha moments don't come when you are hustling. They never
Yeah.
do that, because you need to give your brain some space. That's when you have
Yeah.
these aha moments.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's so true. I think about times where I'm just completely unplugging and I'm finally like writing in my journal. And then before you know it, I have this big epiphany. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to open up my laptop. And
Yes.
like you said, you find the creativity in the stillness. And so that's very
Yes.
important. So Daria, that's all good stuff. Oh my goodness. I feel like we can keep going on here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, one other main question I want to ask you before we wrap up here, Daria, is just the fact that, you've been in business for almost a decade now. I believe 2021 is going to be your 10-year anniversary. And so I have to ask, what's your secret? How were you able to stand the test of time for this last decade?
I never asked myself the question, like there's no other way for me to do this. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm born entrepreneur. I worked for one company once. I was 17 for 4 years. I was working for them. And it was a family business. And I had, 7 different small companies, but I learned from her, like from my 2 bosses that, well, this is the goal, then do whatever it takes to get there. Like, with some mentorship, it was really free. So I've never worked in a company where I was not able to create, and my creativity, that's what I really thrive for. And I think that entrepreneurship is about the long-term vision. One of the things that really helped us, actually a couple of years ago, I think it was 6 years ago, we did a 10-year vision. And we sat down and we created our 10-year vision. Every year we revisit our 10-year vision. It takes about 1 day or half day. If you type my name and 10-year vision, there's one version of mine that you can do. You can just download it for free and do it yourself. That is one of the most important things that I have created. It's not a 10-year plan. It's really the feeling. I'm picturing my future, where I'm going to create for myself, how I want to live, my values, what really matters to me. And every day I work towards that. One step closer to that. And that for me has been really like that, that feeling of, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going on the long-term visions. And actually Tony Robbins talks about that, where they know with the 10 years, like you can create so much in 10 years. And if you're only looking what you're going to create in 1 year, it might seem like it's impossible, but what we can create in 10 years, it's not the way he says it, but it's something like that. Yeah. I mean, there's so much we can create in 10 years. If you're starting to think a bit bigger and you just say, okay, that's my bigger vision. It doesn't matter if this project didn't work. It doesn't matter if that client didn't say yes, or it doesn't matter if that, I didn't do this well on the talk or whatever. It doesn't matter, because long term, what I'm really caring about is this mission, this is what I'm creating.
Yeah. The way that I see it is like, focus on setting the intention rather than, let's say, a goal. Cause I feel like nowadays goals can be so disappointing, but like, if you set that intention, it's like you said, it's like that bigger long-term, like dream idea. It kind of doesn't matter what happens in between, because you still have that long-term, vision and what have you in mind. So, Daria, I feel like we have just only scratched the surface. You are a wealth of wisdom, and I feel like I can keep picking your brain, but I think this is a good opportunity for our listeners to, check you out and look you up and be able to connect with you. So before we get to that, Daria, I just want to thank you again so much for joining us here on The Thoughtful Entrepreneur.
Oh, pleasure. It has been a true pleasure.
Yeah. And once again, to our listeners, this is Daria Vodopianova. She is the co-founder of Thought Leadership Academy, and you can learn more about her and her academy at dariav.com. That's spelled DARIAV.com. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll chat with you in the next episode. Tune in next time.